He's been here less than a year, and he's already making big strides here at Brook Green Gardens. Who is he? You'll find out coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Holiday Cottage at Brook Green Gardens. We're focused on Brook Green Gardens, and we're visiting with its president and chief executive officer, Bob Jewell. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. How you doing?
Thanks so much for coming in. I'm doing great.
Good.
Being at Brook Green itself just makes it a lot easier to start the morning.
Absolutely. It's a special place. There's no doubt.
It is truly special. I think someone said the other day it's a 9,000-acre preserve when you take in Huntington Beach State Park.
That's right. 9,000.
Now, Bob, even though you've only been here a little less than a year,
right,
that aspect of it, have you visited many of the nooks and crannies out here at the facility?
I have visited several, but I'm still getting out to spots where I have not been at all, and I'm looking forward to getting there. I really am. We have people here that are educating me on several aspects of Brook Green. So every day is a new learning experience.
Robin Salmon, who's with us tomorrow, I think, has been here 28, 29 years maybe.
She's been here 26 years. Yeah, and she's a curator of sculpture. No one knows Brook Green like Robin does. She knows the history of Brook Green. She knows the sculpture. She's a national figure in the world of sculpture.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll enjoy talking to her.
I'm dying to find out if she's been in all the nooks and crannies.
I think she has. Yeah, I think she has.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Real quick about yourself, Bob. Are you originally from the area?
No, I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri. I was born there. Lived there until I was 8, 9 years old. My father moved around quite a bit in his career, so I lived in various areas of the country. We ended up in Wisconsin, and I went to high school in Wisconsin. I went to college there at the University of Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I met in high school. So,
oh, wow.
So we lived there. I lived there for about 18 years before we moved from Wisconsin.
And that first move out of Wisconsin was to South Carolina?
No, it was to California.
Oh.
Yeah, I started my career with a division of Federated Department Stores. Okay. And that division happened to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And then I was recruited to work for a California-based retailer and was there for about 4 or 5 years, and then was recruited back to Federated. So that brought me back to the Midwest, basically. So.
Now, does Federated have a presence in the Carolinas? Is that something that
they don't? No, they really aren't. I mean,
or Lumberton?
But they would recognize some of the names: Macy's, Abraham and Straus, Bloomingdale's, Foley, Sanger Harris.
Wow.
They have divisions throughout the country.
Those are all owned by Federated.
Mm-hmm.
Macy's and Bloomingdale's.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, those are names folks would have heard of.
Oh, absolutely. But retailing's been a giant game of Pac-Man here recently. So some divisions have been bought and sold, and it's not as consistent as it used to be in terms of one name brand staying with a corporate entity.
Right. So, when someone thinks about working on the retailing side, of course, for you, kind of behind the scenes,
mm-hmm.
Constantly dealing with issues of customers coming in. I mean, you're constantly thinking about others at
absolutely.
all times. What was that like?
Well, it's a fascinating business because it's really a reflection of society in terms of, clothing trends, home furnishing trends, technology, which has had a tremendous impact on retailing, bringing their costs down. Mm-hmm. Customer service, of course, is a reflection of some of the areas that you're in and expectation levels that people have. So it's a very exciting career. It's very fast-paced and very, very demanding, but it's rewarding. And I had early in my career did some college recruiting, and I would tell kids on campus, I would advise them that if you got into our training programs, make a decision after 2 years because you had to love the business. It required that kind of commitment. If you didn't, get out of it because if you felt lukewarm about it, you wouldn't do well in it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very demanding and requiring, but if it's for you, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
That's fascinating. Do you still have family in Wisconsin?
I do. My wife's mother lives in Milwaukee, and then 2 of her sisters live in Milwaukee.
So you also go back there a little bit?
A little bit. I try not to go back unless it's above 60 degrees.
Which is 1 day a year, yeah.
That's, about 2 days sometimes. Right. But My parents, I actually had moved down here about 5 years ago, and they've since passed away. But I got them out of Milwaukee, and they loved it here also.
I'm sure they did.
Kansas City, where both of my parents were from, is more southern than it is northern. So they really enjoyed it and didn't have to worry about ice on windshields and things like that. So.
Right, yes. Now, do you have family here in the area with you now in Georgetown County?
Well, our youngest son is still at home. He's 19-year-old and it just started college last year, so he's home during the summers and on his breaks. Our oldest son lives in San Francisco. He was just engaged, so he and his fiancée live right in the city and love it. I've been out to visit them several times and determined I'm too old to live in the middle of a large city.
Oh, yeah.
And then our daughter lives in Scottsdale, Arizona,
right.
And she works for a public relations firm in Scottsdale.
Is that
and
right?
she just loves it. So she's going to critique this show for me.
Oh, yeah, good, absolutely.
Yeah. Tell me if I did a good job or not.
That's right. We'll have to get her a copy of it quick.
Yeah, good.
She can start that critique early before Christmas.
She can be brutal. So.
I'm sure. Yeah, your first child is a daughter. That must have been exciting.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
That must have been very exciting. I think in either talking to you or reading something about you, heard that your youngest son, the last one out, is a spectacular tennis player.
Yeah, he's really a strong tennis player. He started playing when he was about 12, and that's late in the tennis world.
Right.
When we first moved here, he was playing soccer and then converted to tennis. So he caught up quickly and played at Waccamaw High School. And 2 of the 4 years that he was there, they got to the finals in the state championship for tennis. Colin was the toast of the coast for the Sun News his last year in school. So he did quite well. But unfortunately, he's not playing in college now. So, he probably could have qualified for a scholarship, but he decided he wanted to pursue other avenues of the college life.
Yeah, those things happen. It's tough to keep that focus, but at the same time, I'm sure it would have been thrilling to play in college.
Absolutely. So, but he and I have long ago given up playing against each other. It's not fun for either one.
Does he play against your wife?
No, whenever I play Colin, I end up just going to the back fence and picking the ball up. So we've decided we'll do other things together as father and son.
That's great. That's hilarious, Bob. Well, now, what brought you all to, of course, you were talking about Federated in the Midwest, and obviously being in California. What brought you to South Carolina?
Well, actually, Waccamaw Corporation did. I was recruited by an executive search firm out of New York, and came down and talked to, actually Bill Miller was the chairman of the board of Waccamaw Corp, and they were looking to try, and they had purchased the company from the Bishops, and they were trying to make some changes and expand it, and their hope was that eventually they would do a public offering with it. So that's what brought me here, and I worked for them for several years. We made an acquisition about 4 years ago. It was called Home Place. It's coming out of Cleveland.
Right.
And so the Waccamaw Corporation then became Home Place of America.
Okay.
And we, opened new distribution centers and converted stores. And unfortunately, the economy turned bad. Just at the time, our cash needs were at a peak. And so we had to go into Chapter 11 and eventually close the company. And at that point, I retired. I thought that was enough.
Now, of course, as you said, retailing has been much like the Pac-Man game in the recent past. Even the Macy's Bloomingdale Federated has had a component either that they've acquired somebody or been acquired or hit Chapter 11 or otherwise.
Well, actually, Macy's was a standalone corporation for decades.
Yeah.
And Federated acquired them about, I think it's probably been about 7 or 8 years ago now. So companies that were independent were acquired by other companies. To fund some of those acquisitions, the purchasing company would spin out some of their divisions. So it's a changing industry and continues to change.
And to think about actually stepping into retirement and now recently ascending to the helm of Brook Green Gardens, where you've been, I think I saw you've been here since November of last year.
That's correct.
As their chief operating officer.
That's correct.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
What could have prompted you to get back into work? Maybe it's because you're working on a 9,000-acre preserve.
Right. Well, actually, I was, there were a couple of things that did. I always thought that if I wanted to retire early, and sometimes, you get what you wish for and find out it's not quite what you want. So I was playing golf several days a week, and I always thought that if I could play golf and concentrate on it, I could be fairly decent.
Oh, yeah.
I found that was not the case. My handicap was going the wrong way.
Oh, no.
And I was, helping my wife. My wife is a real estate agent, and she works primarily in the Murrells Inlet, Litchfield, Pawleys area.
Right.
And I was helping her with some of her real estate activity.
Right.
And I just found myself not being fulfilled the way I wanted to be. So I talked to a friend of mine about, if he heard of anything part-time, I'd be interested in finding out about it. And actually came over to Brook Green and sat in this very room and talked to some people about a fundraising job. And there were some operating needs that the institution had at that point. So I ended up talking to the management committee, John Rainey and Dick Rosen,
right.
Hal Holmes. And we got together, and I became the COO, which I was until about a month ago. And then with Larry Henry's retirement, I became the president and CEO.
How exciting!
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's interesting how life works.
Yes,
it really is.
From the behind-the-scenes side, can you share with viewers who may be familiar with Brook Green, hadn't been here in a while, some of our viewers in the PD, for instance, who may not have the chance to get down, as well as folks here locally. I know you all have a real concerted push in the very near future to really go after locals and make sure folks in Horry and Georgetown County know that Brook Green's here and is here to stay and has been here forever.
Absolutely, yeah.
Share a little bit with them why someone in the PD would want to come down and visit.
Well, it's a fabulous place. I mean, it's a treasure that we have, and we're really fortunate as residents of this area to have Brook Green and to benefit from the vision of the Huntingtons. My belief is their vision was to make this a tranquil, serene sort of experience that people could have. We have the a spectacular garden. We have the best figurative sculpture garden in the country, and I think in the world. We have low country history that people can learn from. We have a domestic animals area that families can bring, and their smaller children can enjoy. We have a wildlife preserve. So there's a real strong level of diversity here at Brook Green, and I think many people sometimes kind of categorize us as just being an artistic sort of institution, but it's really a combination of art and science and low country history, and that makes for a very impactful kind of experience that our visitors can have.
And you talk about that zoo-like experience as well. Russell Holiday is going to be with us this Friday.
Right.
When I talked to her about coming down, obviously we're here at the Holiday Cottage. It was a great opportunity to get her in. But she said, I love Brook Green. When we were kids, we thought about that as going to the zoo.
Right.
Because I guess that's been a component down here for a long time.
For a long time. Yes, it has. Yeah, and I think a lot of people are not aware of that. So through our advertising in the last 6-7 months, we've really tried to develop that brand.
Sure.
To use a marketing term, to make people aware of that as a real strong feature of Brook Green. And it's great. I mean, you'll come through on the weekends and you'll see families strolling through the area and strolling through the zoo and the domestic animals area. And it's very low key, and you can, there aren't tons of people that you need to worry about getting in your way, and you can get good visual contact with the animals. So it's a lot of fun, I think, for our guests, and it's very relaxing.
Bob, there's so many potential brands when you're talking about brand building. So many potential brands of Brook Green Gardens. So many different aspects. You're talking about the largest outdoor sculpture garden in the world, one of the most recognized. Obviously, having folks like Robin, who'll be with us tomorrow, and others who help continue to make this such a prestigious but down-to-earth place to visit. I mean, brand building is so easy at Brook Green Gardens almost, because there's so many amazing things that you could be wrapping around. But that aspect of tomorrow night, Thursday night, and Friday night are the last 3 nights of this multi-month Cool Summer Evenings program, which I sure want to ask you about a little bit more. But that idea of brand building, there's so many components that you all can wrap around.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And that's one of our challenges from a marketing standpoint, because we're a nonprofit institution.
Right.
And we have limited funds, as any nonprofit institution has. So it's where do we where do we really try and develop the brand, and what marketing vehicles do we use to develop the brand. And because of the complexity of this institution, sometimes that's a challenge. It really is. You know, what message are you trying to get to our potential guests? What do you feel will really attract them to come see Brook Green? So that's an ongoing issue that we're dealing with, and we're talking to some various agencies that might be able to help us do that.
Right, to continue to build that brand. When you think about agencies, you think about advertising. We also think about that public relations component.
Absolutely.
And particularly whether you're serving the public in Oury and Georgetown, or you're serving in the PD or the Low Country or the Palmetto State or the Carolinas. I mean, it's folks who can best do that. I'm sure that's a big issue.
It is, definitely.
That's a big deal.
The other thing that we're trying to do is really reach out more to the local community. You alluded to that. We have about 6,000 memberships right now. Really? And about 42% of those memberships are based in Pawleys and Murrells Inlet in Litchfield, in that area. We have a small number in Georgetown, probably 300-400 memberships. And in Myrtle Beach, we only have 700 memberships.
Come on.
Yeah, that's all we have. And so we're really working. We're going to have a membership drive next month, really try and make people aware of the value of Brook Green. Because a family membership here is $75. Yeah. And that's for your immediate family. You can come in really throughout the year in an unlimited period of time in trips. And it's the best value here. You know, it really is. I mean, we have a shop that people can visit, Keepsakes. We have a pavilion restaurant where you can have lunch. It's a great family experience. You know, people get to know each other a little more while they're here. So we're going to reach out. We're going to be much more aggressive.
Bob, that's less than a quarter a day. I mean, that's less than a quarter a day for that family membership. And a family membership, what would that entail for a viewer? I mean, let's share a little bit. What would that entail for less than a quarter a day? And that mindset, what do they get for that? And why would someone want to join as a family member? Either here, now would that same rate be applicable to our viewers in Lumberton or Laurinburg or the PD?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Same rate,
Absolutely. And we have upper level memberships also, and they come with, you know, additional perks basically. But the family membership is our core membership. And I really think that's the Huntingtons were looking at providing this opportunity for families in this area and, you know, up and down the East Coast, really. And it would allow you and your family to come an unlimited number of times. You can come in and you can enjoy all the things that we have talked about. And in addition, I think it's probably an opportunity to get away from kind of the stress of everyday life. You know, there aren't a lot of places like Brook Green where you can come in here and really taste the art and the gardens and get some information in terms of the Low Country history that we've all benefited from, the evolution of it. It's just a unique opportunity, and that's a major benefit. It really is. And the fact you can come 10 times, 15 times, 25 times. Every day, if you want to.
We're open virtually every day, that's right.
Yes, we are. And actually, we have some people that come almost every day.
Oh, yeah?
They
My
really
uncle's
do.
one of them.
Is
That's
it?
right.
Great.
He lives up a mile from here. Absolutely. He comes down all the time.
Oh, great.
Probably seen an old caddy convertible driving through. He comes in all the time.
Well, tell him to look me up. I'd love to meet him.
That's right. We'll definitely highlight that. So, you know, there's so many aspects. And, of course, that phone number, the simple number, the 843-235-6000.
Right.
Is that something a viewer could call to learn more?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, that's the number. And we have someone...
Jewell's website, excuse me. You've got a great-looking website as well.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, we have our website. We're in process of changing some of the format and making it even better and more dynamic and more interactive.
Sure.
But it's a strong website.
That's
lots of information.
brookgreen.org.
That's correct.
Brookgreen.org.
Right.
And again, that org highlights the fact that you all are a not-for-profit.
That's right.
And you all are constantly reinvesting those funds here in the community back into this preserve. And the part that you all are constantly preserving, I mean, the Huntington Beach State Park has really helped out by the state of South Carolina.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah, the property is part of Brook Green. It's part of the 9,000 acres that we've talked about, but the state of South Carolina leases that from us, and they actually run it. But we have a good rapport with them, and we're trying to develop some more commonality between the two areas also.
And of course, so for viewers now, if they could also join the different state parks at a very reasonable thing. If they join Brook Green, would they have access to Huntington Beach State Park, or would they need to do that?
Different memberships.
different memberships.
Different
Okay,
membership,
sure.
yeah.
But still that opportunity to get here. I mean, over here on this side of 17, we're talking about a good 4,000 or 5,000 acres as well.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. A heck of a lot over here.
Yeah, and we have, Springfield, which is our boat, basically, that will take you out, on the waterways. And we have docents that give you information about the history as you're going up and down the waterways. We have a trekker ride that takes you out into the woods, basically, and tells you about the history that's been developed over the years, over the decades, centuries, in the woods. So it's a very informational kind of place. And if you want to be in touch with what's gone on in this area over the years, you can't beat it.
Bob, I also saw there's some great volunteer opportunities. If folks are willing to commit 50 hours or more a year,
right?
Some training opportunities for volunteers and getting in some incredible opportunities to get out here to help other folks learn, to learn about Brook Green, and then to help others learn about it. I remember when I was taking a tour of this house, when it was the Southern Living Cottage, and the amazing volunteer who'd obviously been through here a ton of times, but just getting so into it, not only Brook Green, but this home, and really enjoying the aspects of everything out here.
Right. No, that's a great point. I mean, we're very fortunate at Brook Green. We have some wonderful staff, people that have been here, like Robin, like Mac Parker, who's one of our landscape people. Mac has been here 35 years. We have several people that have been here decades, and they're just very loyal and very committed to doing what's right for Brook Green, which is a wonderful thing. The volunteers are fabulous. We have a good core of volunteers. We're always looking for more volunteers. So if anyone's out there that's interested in contacting us, please do, because we'd love to talk to you. But they make it go. And we really could not run the institution without the volunteers. We just, from a financial standpoint, could not do it. So.
And all the volunteers who help put on your annual gala as well. I'm sure so many of those folks. And the big event down here on an annual basis, which
absolutely.
You all have been doing that for a heck of a long time.
Yes, yeah, and we're fortunate there, too. I'm glad you brought that up. We have a group called the Friends of Brook Green.
Right.
And they're a wonderful group of people, very ambitious, very supportive to Brook Green. They've helped us fund several different projects, and that keeps us going. And our staff really appreciates their efforts. And they virtually run the gala. We kind of oversee some of the administrative aspects and provide some support, some of the technical support and physical plant support. But the participants in the Friends program really make it happen. And they raise a lot of money for us.
And they do, and that's a spectacular event. You think about so many things. Again, we talk about the potential ease of the branding, but as you say, the potential difficulty. Because there's so many things you could wrap around, and you wouldn't want to, I mean, it's just like the branding aspect of the volunteers. They're out constantly marketing Brook Green when they're not here, constantly saying you got to get out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well as, I know you just barely tip of the iceberg there, the programs, the treks, the excursions, the school opportunities for educators, the workbooks that go along with some of the amazing opportunities. We haven't highlighted some of that with Robin tomorrow. We're looking forward to doing that. But so many of the activities that folks could entertain. We got about 2 minutes. When you think about, obviously, growing up and starting there in Kansas City, being in Wisconsin, meeting your wife in high school, Bob, how exciting. Living much of your life on the Midwest or the West Coast, and obviously having 2 of your kids now in the Midwest or the West Coast. What's that like for you now, being here in the Low Country and now committing yourself and your family and really everyone now to Brook Green Gardens for the future?
Oh, it's exciting. I mean, we fell in love with South Carolina as soon as we got here, and just enjoy the environment that South Carolina provides. We enjoy the people. So we're very committed to this area as a family. And my older kids kind of revolve around it. They get back to South Carolina probably 4 or 5 times a year. So it's exciting, and you can't beat the climate, you can't beat the people, and all the opportunities that it gives us.
And that exciting aspect for your kids. We were saying my dad's the CEO of Brook Green Gardens, the largest outdoor sculpture garden in the world. That's going to be a little pressure for you, bro.
No, it will be. Absolutely, you're right. Absolutely, yeah. And there's pressure that comes from really understanding and living the vision of the Huntingtons, and that's something that I'm really committed to, and the staff is committed to. You know, we want to keep that vision in mind, and that's our mission.
And when you think about your daily inspirations or your annual or lifelong inspirations, is it visions like the Huntington family, or is it family vision? What would have been the big inspiration for you, Bob?
For me personally, just in my life has been, you know, my family, basically, because I've been fortunate, had a great family, not only my immediate family, but parents and in-laws and that sort of thing. And I feel very fortunate in that sense, because there's so many people that have not had that same experience that I've had. So that's been kind of my ongoing inspiration for my life. And, you know, I have personal philosophies in terms of how you manage people and treat people, and treat people with respect, and try and give people the opportunity to do their best and coach them to try and get them to that point. And that's a philosophy I've had in retailing and that I have here also. And I kind of look at myself as a coach in that sense. So, but at the same time, I'm getting a lot of coaching from people that are helping me, like Robin and Jim Martin, who's our horticulturalist, and some of the subject matter experts where I really didn't grow up, you know, and they've been wonderful.
That's great. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Okay, great. Thanks. I've enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Bob Jewell coming up next. You heard him talk about reaching out more to the local communities, from Myrtle Beach to Georgetown, being a good neighbor, inspired by his family. Think about that aspect. Aaron is high school sweetheart, raising 3 kids, and obviously moving around a little bit, but ended up in the Horry, Georgetown County area, now in Georgetown County, and indefinitely in Georgetown County. That commitment, he's got to stay strong. He's taken constant advice from folks around him. You heard him talk about Robin Salmon. No one knows Brook Green better than Robin Salmon. We'll visit with her tomorrow. I wish you were here the last 30 minutes, because it's been a treat.